Welcome back for another PTO Leader Chat. I am Christina Heideck of PTO Answers, and joining me again today is Karen Joyce. Hey, Karen.
Oh, good to see you again.
Nice to see you. So today I want to circle back to something we've kind of touched on before, but I think it deserves its own full conversation, and that is equitable fundraising, which sounds super boring, but I think this is so important because if you're not paying attention to this, then you're losing out, and you can really make people feel excluded, which is probably the opposite of what you are trying to do. So let's get into this. Karen, what are your thoughts about this?
Well, our school has just recently been reclassified, and we will now be a Title I school. And so looking at it from that new lens of really seeing who our population is and how can they participate, I think we have a very diverse and in the socioeconomic background of our students. And so I think fundraising inherently is inequitable because not everybody can put forth the same amount, that not everybody can buy the things, not everybody can donate the same amount. And so especially with the kids, how do you make sure that that is maybe hidden away from them, whereas those that can contribute, because fundraising is a thing we all have to do, but how do we make sure that we kind of isolate or insulate them from feeling that at the kid level, mainly from an elementary standpoint of who can and who can't? How does that work out into your prize structures and things like that?
Sure. Well, I think it's at the high school level, maybe not insulate because the kids are probably aware of some of those issues, but it's, I think, providing an opportunity for them still to participate without purchasing anything. So I guess I have a suggestion about this just because I unintentionally yet intentionally baked something in that was pretty equitable. So to raise money for after prom, this year I held a lottery fundraiser. So people would pick like numbers, so they would buy numbers, and they were the only ones that could buy those numbers. And then if their numbers were drawn for like the Ohio Evening Pick 3 number, then they would win a certain amount of money. So it was like $50 Monday through Friday, $100 for Saturday, and like $150 or $125 for Sunday. But how we had it, so of course the families could have participated by purchasing a ticket with the numbers, but how we had it was that the kids would earn an entry into extra graduation tickets. So we had 3 extra sets of commencement tickets available. And so for every 10 tickets they sold, they earned an entry into the graduation tickets. So they themselves did not have to purchase anything. They just had to convince other people to. So right. I guess you either pay with anything, you're either paying with your money or your time, right? So right. People, if they don't have money, sometimes they have time.
Yes.
So that was a way that we got, I think, generally more people involved because, like I said, the kids didn't actually, their families didn't have to lay out any money. They could just leverage their network of family, friends, coworkers, and everybody that they knew to purchase.
Right. And I think going online has helped with that some too, because you don't want the pool of all of your fundraising to come just from your parents, right? You want to have people network, grandparents that don't live nearby, coworkers, like you said, friends and family.
Yeah. Well, even neighborhood, because there's a lot of people who were either their kids went through the schools and so they still have fond feelings, or they used to work at the school and live in the community, or they're just a community member and want to see things for the kids in the community. Like our neighbors, their daughters went to the high school where my kids went, and actually they went to all of the same schools as my kids did, since we're neighbors now, but their kids are my age. So, it's kind of funny. So they will still support because we're neighbors, and also they're like, oh, well, that is great that, you're running that after prom or doing whatever. So going online is a step towards equalization. But not everybody has access to internet either. So that's another, I think so, more so now, like post-pandemic. I think that's because a lot of like libraries stepped up to offer Wi-Fi in different spots where you don't actually have to go in the building. You could just be in the parking lot. They got the Wi-Fi range boosters and all that jazz. So what are some ways that you anticipate that you're going to address this since you're now a Title I school?
I think for us, a lot of it has to do with the incentives that go along with the fundraising. So making sure that the prizes aren't all based on individual contributions. So what we've had success doing are either classroom competitions where like if the class brings in so much, then they get the next level of prize as a classroom. Plus some of those can be totally free, like an extra movie day. That's not a lot of money being spent out, but it means that everybody gets to celebrate that, and doing a school-wide goal, because then it really dilutes down. Even on that classroom level, I think sometimes kids can start to get savvy, especially in some of the upper intermediate, of like, well, come on, we're supposed to be, bringing in this money. What have you brought in? And we want to try and eliminate that as much as possible. So really giving a school-wide goal, if it's sliming the principal or if it's, an extra event, that's really where we're going to try and focus our incentivizing, is in the more holistic way to do it.
Sure. We also did like crazy hat day.
Yes.
That's no money. Or crazy sock day, like pick crazy t-shirt day or whatever. That's also another fun one that costs nothing. And I'm sure the teachers love that, especially hats.
We're also going to try and build in like some of our prizes, again, like on the classroom level, as something that parents see value in. So instead of junkety junk, what we learned last year, and honestly, this was because we do a fun run, we were doing like a big jug of water and into cups, and kids would have a cup of water and then they'd leave the cup. We spent so much money on stupid cups and having to have volunteers. We said this year, the first level of prize is that everybody's going to get a water bottle, a school water bottle. And I think parents will see value in that. And then they will get it on the day of the fun run. Here is your water bottle. Of course, they'll all be the same. So we got to figure out some of those logistics of labeling, et cetera. But trying to like build in something where people go, oh, okay, look, we're getting something back. The kids are getting something back immediately, not just building the budget for the PTA to use behind the scenes throughout the year, although that's what we count on it for. But I think people will see some value in that as well.
Sure. Maybe you could have different classes get different colors.
I think that's a good idea.
It depends on how you do the fun run. Like we did a walkathon, but it was only for the third graders. So we just would have like did they have 3 classes? No, there had to be more than 3 grade classes. No, maybe 4. I think we had 4 third grade classes. So it wasn't as many kids. It was just like 100 as opposed to like an entire school.
Right.
But that is, that's funny. Isn't it funny? You sometimes have to do things and you're like, no.
Yeah, it's going to be so much cheaper. And we were like, oh my gosh. And then the bless their heart kids that just like camped out. They're like, I'm just really thirsty. Literally most of them want to run, but we did have a faction. It was like, you don't have to run, but let's like go walk. Like let's go anywhere else than under the tent with the water. So yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. With our walkathon, we would have kids who were super competitive and wanted to get the most laps. And so how we did it was that we would have foam arcs. Let's start off as stars because they used to be the Sunview Stars and now we're all arcs. That's the whole district thing. So we had like a arc, which is like a lightning bolt, only not. And so I hand cut the lightning bolts one time. And so we would punch them out. So they were around the kid's neck with like a lot of strength. It wasn't like going to be tight. Although some of them screwed it up and it did get a little tight. We're like, come here, you're going to choke yourself because you're a little numbnuts running around. But anyway, they would try and get the most laps and they would shortcut the route. And so we'd have to be like, no, you need to go all the way around. You can't go like hide behind that tree and cut around. So it's like, you guys are silly. Gotta love kids. But I think it's smart on the incentive thing. And also then you don't want to preclude participation by having things that are all really expensive because not everybody has available funds, but they still want to contribute to the school and to the general community. So that's why I think fundraisers that have different price point offerings that are low as well as high is really smart because when you have that mix and you're opening the door for more people to participate, and if you only have really high things, then people are going to be like, no, I don't have money for that.
Right.
So,
And I think that goes back to your fundraising plan for the year too. Like we do the fun run, which is just a cash donation kind of a fundraiser. Plus, if you do spiritware sales, then people are buying clothing, but maybe something like a candy bar sale where the price point's much lower, and trying to hit all of those different demographics can make everybody participate and still get a good income channel for your group.
Yeah, I think having that plan is smart, and not just, it doesn't have to be in one event. I guess it depends on what your overall structure is, like how many fundraisers you're running. And then I think another aspect of equitable fundraising is giving different ways to pay. Like I had a situation yesterday where I sent in a check for the end of the school year. They were doing like for the summer reading, the school would order the books and send them. So I just wrote a check and sent it in, just like I've done every other year. And then I got a text saying, oh no, we need cash for this. And the school sent back the check. And I was like, and so my son was like, so we need to send in cash. And I go, I don't have cash. That's why I wrote a check.
Right.
It's just, I don't know why. I just live in more of a cashless world right now. But I think I have money. It's just in a bank, and I actually don't even think I have a working ATM card. That's a whole nother discussion again. I think I never activated my last one, and that's expired, and they never sent me a new one. And it's not a problem because I generally get cash. But right now I am physically cash poor. There's money in the bank, just nothing in my wallet. Probably because I have teenagers who are always like, Mom, can I have $5? Mom, can I have $20? And I'm like, sure. And then I am left with nickels and quarters in my wallet right now.
That's an excellent point, because I think a lot of it is difficult to man different cash flows, but we make so much more money being able to swipe a card at our back to school night for memberships, for spiritware, things like that, because people just don't carry cash, and then they'll prioritize, okay, the school needs this, and then they won't kind of maybe do the parent group, and that accessibility is important.
We offered back to concessions again for fundraising. We offered, I think last year we were doing the squares where we had to swipe. And this year we upgraded and got the terminals.
Ooh.
We're selling so much more. And the junior high also went to a terminal. And last year I had like a scannable QR code because I didn't want to spend the money on the terminals. And so this year they're like, oh no, we need to do that. They saw sales double or even triple. It was crazy, just because now kids have those green cards or whatever, they're the little cash cards. You're just getting into that age where you're going to see more and more. But it's funny because the kids they'll want a sucker and some pizza or whatever, and it'll be like $3, and they're like, oh, I only have $2.50. So-and-so, can you cash at me 50 cents? And so they big, borrow, and steal to get enough money.
That's hilarious.
It's kind of funny, but just making sure you have the different things, and don't be afraid to add those different payment methods, because families are going to take advantage of them. And I really did think at first that people wouldn't want to pay the transaction fees that normally come with those payment options, but I'm finding it's the convenience factor that they don't mind. Because so what I ended up doing to solve my book thing, my son has all my cash because I've given it to him, and then he gets more birthday money, and he doesn't give me money back. I don't need it back. But I said, here's what we're going to do. You're going to go take that $12.50 to school, and I'm going to transfer $12.50 into your bank account.
Yeah, there you go.
That's how we solved it. And he goes, oh, okay. I will pay for it eventually, but we'll get it to you soon.
Yeah.
So he will have his summer reading books, but kind of goofy that the school, I don't know. Maybe they've had a bunch of bounce checks at the end of the year, but
it could be.
I don't know. That was new for me. I was like, I've only been sending in checks for summer reading books for years now. So,
Wow.
Just got to think around it. Yeah. So I think this has been a super interesting conversation, because I bet we touch on all different aspects of the prizes, of the products, of the payment, like the entire incentive structure. I think that's really awesome, that where you can think about getting more people involved, because at the end of the day, it's really to the benefit of your group to be doing this, right, Karen? Because if you're excluding or not thinking, then that means lower participation, which equals less money for your group in the end. So.
Right. And once you have a soured, participation on a fundraiser, people are not going to want to give again. We've seen that from other schools where they gave kids incentives and then excluded other kids, and it was very visible. And that came back the next year of I didn't like the feel of that. I don't want to participate in that, even from the donors that could participate. So just being aware of your entire community, and yes, you want to raise as most money as you can, but you want to do it in the way that really is supportive of everybody's feelings being taken into consideration. So.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Great point. Well, Karen, another fantastic conversation about, I think, a really timely topic too, with so much focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Fantastic that we've talked about this today. So I so hope that everybody watching has enjoyed this video, and I really hope you will join Karen and I for the next video. So until then, take care.
Want even more guidance on how to be a stronger leader so you can run a better PTO or PTA? All these resources and more are waiting for you at ptoanswers.com.